You before, my name's Kyle. Been refereeing since I was 15, which was way back in 05, and been in the Prem panel since it was my 7th year in the Prem panel. So been doing it for a long while, even though I look like a young bastard still. And tonight I am going to do a presentation on positioning. Now, positioning is a hugely important facet of our areas of referees, because to be in the to make a call, we've got to be in the right position. So let me get cracking. So I'm going to ask a question to the floor to start with. If I can get hands up, and I'll yell out to you. Why is good positioning important? Anybody? Don't be shy. Yes, ma'am.
So you can see.
So you can see. What can we see?
So you can see the breakdown, offsides, basically play. It's important.
The right place to make the right call.
We can we see that? Would lights help, or is that stuff?
Maybe change the colour of the pin.
Change colour?
Red on colour blind.
It's blind.
I'm just blind.
Pretty rubbish. Alright, we'll leave that away. I'll write them down here in front of me so we can see the ball. Anybody else?
They don't get in the way.
Brilliant. Who was that? Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Neville. So we don't get in the way. So we've got see the ball and don't get in the way. Anybody else?
So you see the first infringement.
So you can see the first infringement. So that kind of goes.
Second, third.
Yep, that's perfect. That ties in with see the ball, so we can see. I'm looking for one more. First two are spot on. Anybody else?
You don't have to run as far.
We're nearly there. We don't have to run as far. So by having good positioning, how does that work to when we get to the next position?
Position to keep up with play.
Pardon me, mate?
Justifying your calls.
No, not
Efficiency in terms of
efficiency. That's right. So transitionally from position to position, if we're in a good position, it allows us to get to the next in a really good manner, in an easy manner. Yeah. So we'll go through and see how we go. So there we go. So number one, see the content. Perfect. Boom. Secondly, not in the way of play. And thirdly, transition easily to the next phase. So entering the phase, exiting the phase. Does that make sense to everybody? Nothing too tricky so far? Bloody good. Now, before I move on, those three words there, time and space. So by doing all these three things, and the best in the business, they do those things, and the reason they're such good referees is because by doing those three things, they get time and space. They've got less pressure, so they've got more ability to be calm and make the good calls. So if you do all those three things well, you develop time and space, and you'll hear that a lot. It's been used a lot, time and space. Alright, so when it comes to the breakdown, so we're not looking at set piece here, we're talking breakdown. So tackles made and breakdowns formed. We essentially have three main options for positioning. Can we have a go at naming those, lads? Jockey. So what's jockey? Directly behind the breakdown. Beautiful. Number one, ticked off. Looking for two more. Flat attack. Brilliant. And flat attack, I'll see if I can get the pen that works, because I'm really wanting to draw these down so we can
Be in the right position. Yeah.
So we got. So ruck's here, defensive line, flat attack, if that's our ruck, is there. Yeah? And lastly, one more. Defensive line. You guys are brilliant. So nailed all three. I'll get into them with more right now. So you've got three main options: flat attack, defensive line, and jockey. Now, what I'm going to do Would you guys like to go into groups, or would you like me to explain it? I think, yeah, there's no point bloody getting together, because it asked me here for a 10-minute break for you guys to go through it all, but I think it's better if we all work together. Alright, so flat attack is shown beautifully here. So ideally with flat attack, we want to be about how many metres away from the breakdown? 4 or 5 metres? Any other answers? Depends. What does it depend on?
Where they're going to go.
Context, fantastic. Alright, let me go into a bit more detail with that. Okay, so flat attack is in line with the hindmost of the attacking players. So if we're looking at these players here, hindmost feet, directly in line. Now the width of that, it can be up to you depending on what kind of game it is. So in what kind of game would you come closer to the breakdown?
Messi.
Pardon me?
Oh, I said Messi.
A messy game. So if you've got a game where you need to get some control of that breakdown, you've got lots of contests going on, potentially a position closer to that in that flat attack. So even though we've got a position here called flat attack, there are some variances of where you can stand. Does that make sense, everyone? Now, an important thing is, when we're in flat attack, we're facing the defenders. We've got a lot of presence there. We're not ball focused. If we open ourselves up, we can look there and we've got presence of the defensive on sideline. And like I said before, the width can vary. Depends on the ruck, is contestable, slow, and if you need to manage it. So if I've got a really good flowing game, I'm going to get some real width, because that will allow me to transition to the next breakdown quickly and efficiently. Defensive line shown brilliantly here by, I think that's Paul Williams. So we've got all our attackers here, and he is as if he's one of the defenders. Now it's key when we do go defensive line that we do fit in nicely between those players and we're not standing in front of them. So you're acting as a defender and then you let them go past. So once again, that width can vary depending on the game. So like pretty much the same but different from flat attack. You're standing hindmost of the offside plane. So that gives you a really good look at the offside line, yeah? And you're facing the attackers coming towards you. And last, and probably least, out of the 3 positions, is jockey. So Ben O'Keefe there, about 2 metres back from the breakdown. And that's a key thing about jockey, and we'll get into more detail later, but with jockey you don't want to drop off too far. It's good to be nice and close to the action. So jockey is directly behind the breakdown and about 2 to 3 metres behind, sometimes even closer. So there's less variancy with positioning a jockey. There's pretty much one position. Alright, so there are our 3 main options. Now, I probably want to just bring this back to probably the community footy. These 3 options, there is no right or wrong position. And position can come to depend on what kind of game it is, or also what kind of referee you are. So, a referee that's experienced and coming to the end of his career and doesn't have the fitness that he used to, potentially will go for defensive line because that gives him more space and it's easier to transition with less. He would have to run less. If you're flat attack, that's giving you more options in terms of getting the next phase, but you will run a lot more. So I'm going to get into that now in terms of why we'd choose one over the other and when to do that. Alright, so this is where it's asking me to split you into groups, but I think we'll just do this as a big unit, and if you can yell some answers at me, I'm going to use this whiteboard because I have to. So, I'm going to start off with flat attack. Can I get some pros, good things about flat attack? So, a flat attack is this man over here. What's good about that position, guys? Great view of the offside lines. So that says the offside lines.
Good view of the halfback handling the ball.
So you can see that the little thumb ball in there, you've got a great view of the breakdown, yeah? Beautiful, unopposed view of the breakdown, no one in your way. So good view of breakdown. There's plenty of others, guys. Keep firing at me. Presence, brilliant. So what do you mean by presence? Why did you have a good presence in that position? You can be seen, yes, yes, but and you can be seen by both teams as well, right? Defensive line, great presence there, and you've got all the presence at the breakdown as well. So your options are open. Keep coming, guys. What else?
Close enough to manage arriving players.
Manage arriving players is what the answer is, and that's brilliant. So flat attack is for me the best position in terms of managing that contest. You can see both teams and you can see entry points very well. And now in terms of getting to the next breakdown, would flat attack be a good transitional position as well?
Yeah, and
It's one of the best. Because essentially the ball's going to be going right behind you and you're essentially right in line to go with their back line. Now, there are a couple bad things. So with one position, there's always good things, but with like every other position, there are bad things. What are some negative factors about the flat attack position, guys? Pardon me, mate? In the way. So, flat attack, out of all the others, if you don't do it right, you can actually become a bit of a menace, yeah? And why is that?
Sometimes the ball, you're just hit that little crash ball.
So if I take us back to here, now this is quite a clean breakdown, probably not a good one, but if Wellington had a couple of short runners here, and these guys have got a quick D-line, you've got to be very fast. Okay? So flat attack is the best position for seeing the breakdown, but if that ball comes quickly, you have to react. So as referees, when we get into a position, I like to, if I'm at flat attack and I see clean ball, I'll have a quick look here to see who's in the way. Now, ideally, I'm just going to let that ball go behind me, and I'll transition, I'll go with them, but we have to have what I like to call get-out positions. Okay, so a get-out position for me is using my other two positions. Okay, so I'm in flat attack, and I'm in the way. I'm going to take a step into D-line. Does that make sense to you guys? My other one, which is preferable, because that one I'm turning my back to the position, I want to read it early enough, and I'm going to go into jockey. And then I'm going to follow play again. Does that make sense, everyone? So, flat attack's number one concern, if we're not doing it right, is getting in the way. And that happens when we've got four dominant teams that do a lot of one-off, two-off runners. Any questions there, guys? Beautiful. Now I'm just going to go through the other advantages and disadvantages we missed out. I'll run through them all. So flat attack. Oh, there we are. Beautiful. Don't look at that, lads. Beautiful. So advantages. Easy to see and manage the contest. It's brilliant. Can see, manage the offside lines. So you've got a clear line all the way across. You're not in the way of the 9 to 10 pass. Exit to turn on spot and follow ball. So that's using the pivot move, the halfback passes behind you, you roll with play, and you continue to go on line. Yep. And lastly, easy to exit onto defensive line. So the other option is and that's my get out way, is the players are coming at you, drop into D line, and let the ball play go. Now, if you do that and you exit into D-line, what I've been seeing lately is you stay there and then you're slow to exit. If you choose to go D-line, and I'm going to move on to this now, make sure you exit quickly, as if you were in flat attack. And that's what I've been guilty of myself. You kind of get a bit relaxed in D-line, and all that felt bloody good, didn't it? And then you get stuck on your you're not on your toes, you're on your heels. Then you need to work your ass off to get back in line. All right. Before we get on to that, D-line, beautiful. Let's start off with some bad things about D-line. Why do we not like D-line? What are the things that are bad?
Can't see the ball.
Can't see the ball. So, as opposed to flat attack to the contest, it's not actually not a very good viewing platform, is it? Oh, actually, I've got some clips. We're just going to jump back into flat attack because I've got some really good clips here of how it can be used well. Hey, Codes. We don't need sound, do we? So see Angus how he went into flat attack, he had a great eyes on the contest there, and then just rolls out with the play. So watch that one more time. Nice and easy. Good width, so he chooses about 3 to 4 metres out. He's got great vision of the back line, and then moves with play. That is spot on flat attack. This is brilliant. So now we've got the same position, but look at the distance. So Angus may have had a game that he wanted to get a bit of presence at breakdown. He's using the exact same position, but there's what? A 15 metre gap between him and the ball. So I wouldn't go out on a Saturday and start with that position, okay? Because if you penalise a guy for an entry, you haven't, the crowd's going, what? Look how far away he is. He's got no presence there. So he's read the game, and he's got an open flowing game, and he's now confident, and he picks what breakdown he's got in front of him, and that's why he's gone for that width.
It's no contest in that breakdown, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's obviously appreciated the game's got flow, and he's reading that there's not going to be a contest there. And he's just essentially getting a better transition to the next phase. Now, like we said before, if this man was to run at him, he can then just pivot in between those players, if he needs to. And that's exactly what he did. It's a really good, it shows really well the two widths you can use with flat attack. It's brilliant. And lastly, Nut Brown, similar width to what Angus had, but look at the control he's got of the offside line there, guys. He's not going to miss a beat there. It's perfect. And then he'll roll with play. Now, essentially, he's actually a bit slow for that breakdown. He's not in line. So that's, if you do transition to D-line, I really want you to emphasis on getting to that in line again. See, he's going to miss the first infringement there, guys. So if we choose to go flat attack into D-line, I want you to hustle. See, look how slow he reacts. So he's in D-line, but he's jogging back. So if you're going to go D-line, and the breakdown's going to be behind the advantage line, that's really important for us to work. We need to be in line for all those breakdowns, okay? That make sense? Magic. Alright, so, sorry I slipped ahead there, guys, that was my bad. So, where were we on defensive line? You said that we couldn't see the contest very well. And that's a prime example, yeah? Anything else for disadvantages at D-line, guys?
You can often become a target.
Run at you.
You can be a target. I think flat attack, you're more likely to be looked at as a target because with the defensive line coming up, you're wanting to let them go through past you. What you're thinking is you could create a gap essentially. In my experience, they generally, if they go past you, there's no real gaps there. If they are being targeted, you could potentially go wider in that D line. Get out of those first couple of players. Because that's where the contact's going to happen, yeah? Anything else, guys, in terms of disadvantages for the D line?
We've been shown there.
Pardon me? Play goes the other way. Brilliant. There's a lot of traffic to get through. So hopefully one of these shots I can explain that. So I'll just so if play goes the other way. Beautiful. All right, now we've gone through some disadvantages there, guys. What would be some good things about the D line?
Play comes towards you.
Play comes towards you, so you've got a head start. Yep.
Manage offsides, fella.
You've got a really good view of offside line. So you set up where the offside line is. And if they're in front of you, pretty bloody easy, right? Okay, now if there was an area on the field that that you would use D line, which area of the field would that be? Try line. And why is that, guys?
Offside line takes you to transition to
Be there. So a coach will maybe forgive you for missing the occasional forward pass, but they will not forgive you for missing a try. Yeah? They're big moments. So when a try is scored, we want to be there to see it. And using D-line in that red zone area is key. That's essentially, unless I get stuck, that's the only place on the field I use it. Is within 10 metres of the try line. That's the only place I use that because none of those are in goal. So if I'm 5 metres out from a goal, they're going all the way across the field, I'm in D-line, I'm not going to truck out and get in line. It's the only time I won't. I'm going to go across the goal line from my D-line. Does everyone know what I mean there? And then the try comes towards you, you're at the ground, and that's that's rugby porn to us, is getting a try scored at our feet. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. There's nothing better than that happening. We go home smile with a smile on our face. Other advantages that we haven't said, guys, is we're not in the way of the halfback. Feels quite comfortable. But I would encourage you to work that flat attack. And especially at the start of the season, it actually is a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? Oh shit, I'm in the way here. But the important thing is to know our exits. So we're in that flat attack. We just need to know if we are in the way, there are places we can go. So it's just to be a step ahead. So the advantages D-line are we're out of the way of the ball. Good positioning when there's no contest and quick ball. Yes, ideal position close to goal line and try scored. So we'll go and bring these bad boys up. Difficult to see ball or manage contest, as you said. Got to work hard, which I actually showed you in that previous clip from that flat attack to when you went to D-line. Then you've got to work hard if the ball goes behind the play. Mitch, like you said, left behind if play goes far side and can get caught in behind defensive line. So they all tie in together. Right, let's have a look at clips of that in action. Now, one thing I will say, if you do watch these games, they're bloody quick, and that's why a lot of these referees do use D-line a lot more than we need to. So, try flat attack, then we can work to D-line if we need to. So there he is, he's transitioned to D-line. Now from that view, very hard to see a man put his hand in the hand in the breakdown, but he's got a good look at the defensive line, and he's not in the way of the halfback there. That's actually not a very good clip, so I won't play that one again. So there he is. So these clips are actually, for me, these aren't really defensive line. He's used that as a transitional phase. He actually started a flat attack, and just as the balls come, he's gone defensive line. So bear that in mind. Defensive line is when we're positioning ourselves, waiting for that. He's using this as a transitional phase, which I do quite a lot as well.
But it doesn't work hard though.
But you can see how you can get stuck in that position, guys? See, just by being there at that next phase, he wasn't in an ideal position. Okay? So that's why it's one we can use, but it's not on the top of our list. And here's our last clip. Now that's brilliant. So he worked hard. See how he works? Quick steps after that first phase. So he's in D-line, and now he comes out nice and quick. He's got a bit of urgency. And if you're going to choose D-line, you need to show that urgency. All good? All right.
Kyle, can I just reiterate one of your points?
Yes, mate.
And the two examples that you showed where the D-line fell down, and that was when the ball was caught behind the advantage line.
Yes.
In the games that you're going to be refereeing, more often than in these games, does the ball or the player get caught behind the advantage line. So please understand that while you're being shown about this D-line, it is not the first choice for you because you'll be caught out of position so much more than these guys who get to the game line more often.
Yep.
So just try and understand that.
So yeah, Smuds, thanks for that, mate. You really, when we do use it, if we do use it, it's going to be, you've been caught out, you're getting out of the way, but if you're there, you need a little trigger. And my trigger, whenever I go D-line, I say go. Go means I need to work. And that's quick steps off the mark, and I'm going back into that ball in line. Then we can move into flat attack and start again. All good? Now, the defensive line is the most comfortable position to referee, but don't get caught out by that. It's not the best position to see things. All right, now we're on to the jockey. Now, Richard Wilson used to be my coach, and he goes, oh, you got to use the jockey more. You got to use the jockey more. Now, it's quite an old-fashioned position, but it's still got its merits, but obviously it's got its disadvantages as well. So let's go with some advantages on jockey. Hit me.
You can go.
Say again, mate?
Never going to get smashed in.
Never going to get smashed into? Absolutely.
You can go either way, so if it goes left or right, you're well positioned to go
You've got
back.
a real good transitional position to move.
You can see the ball.
You can see the ball. Anything else? You guys are liking the jockey? I see. Anything else?
Quick game.
Quick game, pick and goes. Yep. Beautiful.
Still see the defensive line.
Still see the defensive line? Absolutely, but when we look one way, we lose one. Yeah? Now, the key thing with the jockey is you've got to be active and you can't get left behind. Because if they break the... So I'm actually sneaking ahead here. If I ever go jockey, I say to myself, 2 metres, 2 metres. And that's where I want to be. If I'm within that 2 metres, I'm directly behind these players and all those fellas are fit quicker than me, they're going to go. So you've got to be really active, really active. Much like the D-line though, defensive line, I use it as a transitional phase 9 times out of 10. And these clips will show that as well. Okay, so apart from being left behind from a pick and go, what other negative things for the jockey position?
Your presence in terms of managing the offside line is less, because you're not right up there indicating to the offside line if you
Great,
need to.
really good. Anything else, guys?
Players to get around.
To get around, absolutely. Absolutely. Hard to see defenders, isn't it? A guy, an angle from that far side, or a guy with his hand, very tough position to rule in that contest, in that breakdown area. Yeah, so it's good to rule on offside lines as well, but because you can see the players, but you actually lose a bit of perspective. I find it's not as easy to rule on that last man's feet because you can't see it. So you got good presence there, you can look at them, but it's actually a pretty hard call to make on those guys standing in front because you're here, but there's all these players, and the last man's foot is on the other side of those. So it does make it a little bit hard. Now let's have a look at these. Here we go. So boom, easy to see and manage the contest. I kind of agree with that, but I kind of disagree as well. Because you can see what's in front of you, but a guy from the opposition having a crack, not the best. You're never in the way, as Remy said. You can manage offsides close to the breakdown on both sides, so you've got options of both, and you can talk to both of them. Real easy to get ball in line. It's a beautiful transitional phase, the best in out of all three. It's really good to get to the next phase. And that's on to my next point. There you go. Good for transitioning across the field on the same way of attack. So, and coaches love this. You know, if you're reading the game really well, you've been flat attack, the ball's going this way, you're watching the halfback pass it, you're moving, and as he passes it, you're going. And that just looks really smooth, and some of these will show that. It's a really good position to use when moving to next phase. And the disadvantages, left behind pick and go, can become too ball focused. So becoming too ball focused means is you're looking at the ball and you're missing the bigger picture. You know, you're there, but you need to be there. It's really easy to get stuck in that, so be careful of that. Can be caught out by inside ball when following play, absolutely. And like I said before, lose perspective on those offside lines. And the last one there, far to run when play near sideline. Yeah. All right. Any questions before we go into some clips? Magic. Look at that, spot on. 2 metres behind the halfback. If you're going to use it, that's where you go. Really good clip. There he is, 2 metres behind, and then watch him move. So see what he's done there? A lot of referees use this. It could be a lot of one-off runners in that position, so as opposed to he's coming at flat attack, but instead of staying there, he's coming to jockey, which then allows him to transition again. So that's a personal thing. I've seen a lot of referees do it and use it really well. I don't do it that much, but it's probably something I could think about because he's transitioned there once the contest was over. And then that allows him to get out of the way and move with the ball. So that's really well done. So that's great. He showed 2 ways we can use it as a transitional phase. Yeah? The first one, you've got to be doing it well and reading play. Let's watch that again. So the first one, he's coming across to the play. He made that call there. Boom. Comes with play. And now watch it. He's going to go and do it the reverse. So he knows ball's coming open. Beautiful. Really well done. Alright. So let's watch that one again. And by him becoming stuck in that jockey position, he's become a bit ball focused. And I'm not saying it was a penalty, but he potentially could miss players coming from where they're entering the breakdown. So let's just, what do you guys think here? this next phase coming up here, is he missing anything by being a jockey? You guys seeing anything there? Yeah. So, by being in that jockey, it narrows our picture, okay? And it's very hard to spot entry issues that way and that in the side, okay? We're going to show you one more time. Watch this Bay of Plenty player into the breakdown. And this is purely just narrowing his vision by using jockey. So he's in jockey, ball focused. Watch this man come in here from the left.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was a penalty. It didn't have a huge impact on the game, but by being in jockey, he's missed that guy. If he was flat attack, you got a great perspective, and he probably would have picked it up, and then got to make a call on that, whether he goes either way. Does that make sense, guys? Really important that the defensive line and the jockey are used as more of a transitional phase. Alright, now we're going to just do a quick breakdown on all three. Now, like I said at the start, guys, positioning isn't the same for all of us. We've all got different physiques, we've all got different styles of play, but it's using a mix of all three so we can make the right call and be in the right place. And I think a really important thing before I do a summary on all three positions is to anticipate. Anticipate play and let that decide where you're going next. Okay? So flat attack. Often used as an initial entry position for viewing the breakdown, especially when there is a contest over the ball. You can then manage the offside lines and turn on the spot and transition to, like we said before, the D line and the jockey. It is the best position for managing the breakdown, which is what we've got most of in every game. Breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. If we get that right, if we get it right early and get in the right position to see it, rugby's a lot more fun to referee. Second position, jockey. Most commonly used within the 15-metre lines and is a transitional position when the play is moving away from you on the same way attack or on a switch play. And we saw Nick Bryant use both of those. It was a great quick lip. You can see how he used it for going away and then with. Okay? Great as a position to reassess when you might be feeling uncomfortable or if there is a lot of traffic around a flat attack position. So Nick's position, he did it as a transitional thing for him, but it's really good if there is lots of traffic in there. I've got my contest, I'm happy it's over, into jockey, and then the big fellas get into it. Yeah? Defensive line. Best used to ensure you're out of the way when there is quick ball or no contest. Once again, used as a transition from flat attack if there's runners off 9 and 10. And is an excellent position to use near the goal line. So you can use that for a get out position, as it says there, but number one use for this fella, defensive line, is hot and attacking the goal line area. I think there is a clip at the end here that will show this. What have we got? 10 minutes. Now it's good I've got a bit more time because I wanted to just do... Oh, it'll be tough actually. Okay. So once we understand the advantages and disadvantages of each of the position options, we can then read play in the game and transition smoothly between each position. Obviously in the appropriate situation. If we do this effectively, then we can manage and we can achieve our aims of number one, we can see the contest. Number two, we're not in the way of play. And number three, transition beautifully between phase to phase. Alright, now we've got 3 clips here of phases of play of really smooth positioning from phase to phase. So have a look at how easy it is if you're moving well. So let's just go back to that clip and just look at the presence he has when he gets guys on side here. Look at that. Marching him back, marching him back. And he called him for offside there. So he was in a position, flat attack, you push, push. He didn't get to his mark, he's going to play an advantage. So that's purely good positioning and being able to see a full picture. Now, he does the same thing from jockey. Pushes him off. So see the presence he had from jockey? You can't do that at D-line. There's one guy you can talk to. So from that jockey position, he pulled a guy out of play. Now that's quite good there, guys. Now see, the play wasn't moving too far, but you see how he's always moving? He's never staying still. Now that's easier said than done, but even walking at a slow pace is really beneficial, especially getting off the mark quick. And when you get stuck on your heels, it's really hard to then get yourself going again. So if you just watch him, he's always moving. See, small steps, never stops. Where I'd say most of us, flat attack, this is good, and then we're stuck. So he's always moving with play, and that's really hard to do. So give that a crack on Saturday and see if you can keep the body moving. And actually, yeah, it's another trick that I use. I actually am guilty of getting stuck, but what I do, I have a lead foot, so I know play's going that way. Okay, so I put my lead foot that guy, and that gives me a little bit of momentum to pivot off. So do you guys want to know what I mean there? So if I'm standing back, I know play's going that way. That's not good. That's not that great either, but if I'm stationary, really easy to pivot. And if I'm that way, something you might want to give a crack. I'm quite guilty of getting stuck on my heels and going flat attack. Putting the away foot forward allows you to move and go and play. So a couple of little tricks you might want to play with. Each to their own, guys. Let's watch. I think it's Jamie. Oh no, it's Brendan Pickerel. He's really good at positioning, guys, so have a watch this. So see how he uses flat attack every time? Every time, but then as play goes, he will move to jockey into the next position. So he's using those two, all day long. Alright, last trick of the day. Let's watch that one again, guys. Any comments on that? What do you guys think of that?
He was a bit caught, but they went down the left.
He did seem to be caught when they came back a bit there, eh? So that's when we go choose that D-line option. The big guys get, the top New Zealand referees get caught out. So you've got to have a trigger there. If you're going to use D-line, you've got to work, because if you don't, you will not see the first infringement. So he stayed D-line, but see how far the ball's gone behind play? See what Smudge was pointing out before? He's getting hit behind the advantage line by a good 5-6 metres. If you see that happen, we want you working hard, okay? He got quite lucky, he broke the tackle. And R. Kelly's one of the quickest out there as well, so he's got that. So you got to be real mindful. If we're going D-line, I can't harp on that enough. I probably said it 30 times, haven't I, guys? But that's one of the big things. If you're going to use that position, you got to work it well. All All right, lads, that's about me. Yeah, positioning, there's no one rule, and all referees are different. So you've got to referee for what works to you. And the thing I think is, if you can see the ball and see the contest and you're making good decisions, you don't really need to change anything. If you're missing that first infringement and getting slow to the breakdown, then you've got to maybe think about what position you're taking up and how you're going about transitioning through them. Do I have any questions from the floor to finish up with, guys? Don't be shy, guys. This is the time to ask. Oh, shit. Not sure if that's a good thing, Smudge. Now, yeah, I've only got 3 more minutes. I wanted to cover it because there's no set piece positioning in those clips, and I think that'd be good maybe later down the track to do. And I'm happy to do that. But thank you for your attention, guys. Really appreciate it, and bloody privilege working with you all.